Hello, everybody. Walters954 here. I have a really special guest here to tell us his Salesforce story, and that is Alex Pinate. How are you doing today, Alex?
Very well, very well. Thank you, Warren. Thanks for having me. Very excited to have a conversation and let's see how things go. Yeah, awesome.
Very cool. So, for everybody that doesn't know, Alex lives out in Canada and he's a very experienced admin. He's been dabbling around in development and he's been in the Salesforce ecosystem for a while now. So, Alex, I know I've butchered your introduction, but tell everybody a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah, definitely. As everybody, and I think everyone's experience is in the Salesforce ecosystem is the same. I wasn't a Salesforce administrator as as a career choice. I pretty much started my career in Salesforce almost 4 years ago. I can tell you guys in a very brief in a very brief way that I was first working in the solar energy industry here in Canada, and that was my first experience actually as a Salesforce user, qualifying leads, yeah, as an inside sales guy. Um, and yeah, that was at that point. That was I was using Salesforce Classic.
Nice.
Yeah, and I decided I moved to another company as a project manager, and we were still using Salesforce Classic. At that point, I was still end user, working pretty much with case records. That was a very pleasant experience. I did notice though at that point that the business analyst team needed a lot of needed some help with Salesforce when it comes to the reporting and pretty much analyzing the KPIs of the company. And I decided to jump into Trailhead, understanding how Salesforce works. And I think after a year of understanding Salesforce and leveraging Salesforce with the business analyst team, I I was promoted as a business analyst.
Wow.
Yeah, it was Salesforce definitely changed my career, my everything, to be honest. And as a business analyst at Just Energy, I was able to be involved in the first Salesforce deployment of Sales Cloud. At that point, we were implementing Sales Cloud for the LED lighting division at Just
Cool.
Energy. It was good, very challenging because obviously it's a whole deployment for 200 users,
Mm-hmm.
and I needed to also train the sales team. So it was a lot of reading, a lot of communication and messages with the Trailblazers community, Toronto Trailblazers community especially. But that experience helped me out a lot to jump into my uh, career as a Salesforce administrator
Mm-hmm.
at Peninsula Employment Services. And I think at that point, that's when I started like getting very excited about Salesforce because I was exposed to a, an organization that had more than 200 users, and they were using so many Salesforce products: Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, Field Service Lighting, Marketing Cloud, and all those third-party integrations. So that was very amazing, and I decided as well to work and help some startup companies just to
Mm-hmm.
leverage my experience even more, eh, and be involved more in the Salesforce, Toronto Salesforce Trailblazers community. But definitely, it's been an adventure. My last job was in fintech with
Mm-hmm.
Clearbank. That was also a very uh, amazing opportunity that I had as well. Um, and yeah, I mean, like, to be honest, Salesforce has been like this crazy road that is not, it hasn't stopped.
Wow, that's really cool. And just to hear from your beginnings, we'll dive a little bit deeper into the more specifics, like, what it was like working for a fintech company and things like that. But really just hearing the story as you started out as just a normal end user of Salesforce, and you took the initiative to go ahead and say, "Hey, there's a problem here, and I may be able to fix it. What do I need to do to take that jump and get to the next level?" And that was one, getting on Trailhead, and two, you had the initiative internally to do that. So I think a lot of people may be in a similar situation to you, especially people watching this type of video, to say like, "Hey, I'm at a company that has Salesforce, but I'm not the Salesforce admin, or I'm not the business analyst, so I kind of just push that stuff to the side and let them do it." But you can take the plunge and learn a lot of this stuff on your own,
Yeah.
and become that person, move into the role that you want to be in. So that's really a really cool story. And thanks for sharing that. And two, I kind of want to ask you, what was it like at those beginning stages where you kind of made the decision to say like, I want to help out the business analyst team? Like, what was that thought process like?
Well, actually, when I was a project manager at Just Energy, I I will never forget this. But I really wanted to be or be a business analyst, pretty much like jump into this career path. But I didn't have no clue how to do it. And but I did know that I need to have a tool, a specific tool or system, platform, something that I need to specialize to be really good at. And I will never forget that I Google top 10 software systems or apps to learn in for the next 10 years. And I don't remember the name of the website, but there was a very thorough um, article that I read, and Salesforce was top in every single category.
Hmm.
And definitely at that point, I was like, okay, I'm using Salesforce right now, and this article is pretty much like a very technical article. Is telling me like, hey, Salesforce is the future.
Hmm.
I definitely gonna learn Salesforce. So I put my I had a meeting with the business analyst manager, and I told him like, I'm learning Trailhead here. I know that we're using Salesforce. I don't mind at all like helping you out with anything you guys need.
Yep.
And to be honest, your people in your organization really appreciate that, because a lot of people don't know Salesforce. Salesforce for a lot of people was just something new,
Hmm.
a really nice tool to have in the organization. But not a lot of people. This is not Excel, right? Everybody knows Excel. Salesforce was a very new tool that people still have to understand, trying to understand it pretty much. So yeah, people that do appreciate if you show you and tell, hey, I want to help here.
Yeah, I think it's all about taking that first step, whether it's inside your actual company, or maybe even just going to a local community event and asking some questions, even if you're not in Salesforce at all. So, I always tell people, make sure to get involved any way that you can. And if you're trying to break into Salesforce, there's a bunch of different ways you can do it. But I think you have a really good and fundamental path, which is just even get into a company that may have Salesforce. Maybe you're not in that business analyst role, but you can try to progress into there and learn what you can. So let's kind of pivot to some of the different clouds that you've worked with. So we talked about sales a little bit, Service Cloud. Did you work in any other types of Salesforce products or platforms?
Yeah, as I mentioned you before with Peninsula, I at Just Energy they were just using Sales Cloud,
Hmm.
but Peninsula is thanks for the at the time the vice president of IT. He was using Salesforce for more than 7 years.
Wow,
In and so even his family, I think his sister works at Salesforce. So pretty much he did have a Salesforce culture in the company. Let's say that way.
that's really good.
Yeah, so they were using Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, Marketing Cloud, and field service lining. I was the first Salesforce administrator at Peninsula,
Hmm.
so I did have to learn
I'm
all
sure.
those platforms. Yeah.
Cool. So, like, from all of the different clouds you've been working in, do you have a favorite or one that you like to lean on a little bit more?
Yes, I definitely love field service lighting.
Very
Field service
cool.
lighting is a very cool feature, and I really like it. I really liked it, and I think definitely like it's very. I will say it's very sexy. Field service lighting is a very elegant and very well designed Salesforce application. So
Yep.
I like it a lot.
Yeah,
Yes.
I haven't worked in field service lightning as much as I want to, but from what I've seen and a little bit of like administration and development work that I've done, it is really cool. And there's so many businesses that fit into that model. When you think about field service lightning as a product, it's really just if you need to schedule and send people places, it can do a lot of that. And you think about like roofing businesses and hospitals and anything, well, a lot of things. I won't say anything, but a lot of things where you need to schedule people out, have good communication across the board, make appointments and things like that. Like field service lightning handles it amazingly, and it's a really cool and, just like you said, sexy or elegant tool to get it done. So that's really cool there.
Yeah, Peninsula definitely took advantage of field service lighting
Hmm.
100%. And they were using field service lighting for their service team because what Peninsula does is pretty much they provide this HR ready package and for compliance for all these small businesses and medium sized companies.
Hmm.
And so they pretty much you need to book a consultant to go through your documentation, the status of your HR policies, and etc. A lot of additional services that they provide. But obviously, you have a lot of customers, and you have to handle all these service appointments. And field service lighting is so organized, so
Hmm.
easy for a person in the office to book all these experts in HR to the clients. That is super elegant again and super easy to manage.
Cool.
Love it.
Very cool. So, Alex, what is on the horizon for you? Like, what are you looking to do in the next coming months or years as you think about your Salesforce career and your general Salesforce learning?
Well, definitely, I was starting to create a series of videos on YouTube.
Very cool.
Um, yeah, so the first one was actually about again field service lighting, um, but I'm definitely going to have a lot of series video series about my designs, how I look at Salesforce, and some solutions that I have designed in the past for several companies. And that's pretty much what I'm going to do. The name of the project that is or my channel is going to be Sandbox Cloud.
Nice.
And yeah,
And
I'm
then,
very excited about it.
as always, for all of the watchers here, there's going to be links down below to Alex's information, so his LinkedIn page, his YouTube channels, and anything else that I can dig up around him. So definitely check the descriptions down below, and stay tuned for all of that new field service lightning and learning that we can do on his channel.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so what does your ideal like Salesforce day to day look like?
Yeah, my ideal day-to-day Salesforce is you can expect everything. I think like I did always get a lot of requests from the sales team, especially sales team, sales reps, or C-level executives about a specific. When it comes to C-level executive, I will get a lot of reporting and data requests.
Hmm.
Can be reports, dashboards, that that usual stuff. But when it comes to the sales team, every day was a different request. Some, for example, the sales team would like some automation in their processes. That's
Hmm.
actually when the, the thing that I like the most because they will always come up with to you on a daily basis with something new. They say like, how can you make my life better? I
Yep.
mean, I mean, like, I don't want to book. I need to create this task, but I am on the road. I mean, like, can you create a button or something that, I mean, like, in this record here that I'm like, just make my life easy.
Yep.
And I'm just really just quoting them right now because for them it's like they don't want to be technical, right? They just want to say like, okay, create something that makes my life easier. So my daily life with Salesforce at work was pretty much creating automation all the time with
Hmm.
flows and process builders to make their lives easy. Yeah.
Yeah, and I have another big fan of flows out here in Alex. Everybody knows that I'm a huge flow fan, so flow's the way to go, especially with some of the newer and more complex processes. And if you don't know it, start to learn it now. It's only getting better with every release, and do check it out. I'm sure I have a video series somewhere. I'll maybe put a card wherever it shows up. But very cool. Let's talk about how you kind of prioritize those projects. So you're getting a ton of different requests and coming in. Like how do you break them down from like little requests to big requests and huge requests that go on?
Yeah, definitely. You have to prioritize as a Salesforce administrator, and the one of the best tools for me to break down the work that I might need to do is definitely I was always using Jira, so I
Mm-hmm.
was always gonna have an agile mentality of my work. Um, and Jira is one of the best tools I ever had. I'm always going to create for every request or the majority of the request these Jira tickets where I will pretty much create all this the business case, the user story,
Mm-hmm.
and go from there. Um, Definitely, the way to prioritize it is first talking with the stakeholder, talking with the user,
Mm-hmm.
and really knowing the user story and knowing, okay, so what do you actually want,
Yep.
how it's impacting you, and going from there. From that, asking those questions or asking a lot of questions, you might know how big this is going to be, and yeah, just prioritizing it in your sprint with Jira should be enough.
Yep, gotcha there. And it's really about breaking down those huge, momentous projects and chopping them up to be the little pieces that go into making that whole project up and or whatever the task is. So I think it definitely comes with experience as you go along and start to see more projects that are kind of similar or do things that are similar. But at the end of the day, every project will have multiple parts in it, and as long as you can break it down and get those user stories and things like that, you can start to build whatever you need to get done and get your projects done in a decent amount of time and in the fashion that the people that want it, they want to see it. So that's
Yeah,
super cool.
and I think like communicating the priority of that specific request to your stakeholder is always super important, to always communicate, telling them, hi, and yes, I definitely gonna work on this request. However, we have X amount of requests
All
per
of these over here. You
yeah.
just came with this one, but we have these other ones out here too.
Yeah, so definitely there's never just one executive in the company. There's like many executives in the company, and
Hmm.
all of them have requests. So
So let's talk about some future items for you. Do you have any certifications that you want to get on the horizon?
yes, I'm working right now for the platform builder
Hmm.
certification. So I'm working on that one right now, and that's my main priority. I'm using I'm using a lot of Salesforce documentation right now to go through the technical side of it,
Hmm.
and that's one of my main goals. And but definitely, you as a Salesforce administrator, you have the same path, the Salesforce Advanced admin, the platform app builder, the
And
Service Cloud certification, and,
yeah,
and Plus Cloud. Yeah.
Very cool. There are there any additional resources that you like to use to study for the platform app builder? So we got the documentation, but any Trailhead modules or books you like to read for that?
Definitely, I will use Focus on Force.
Cool.
That's for sure. Focus on Force is the most organized one. What I like about Focus on Force is like you have a lot of practice tests that you can
Hmm.
use, and their documentation and is in content is very organized. So I do like it a lot. I do have two books here
Oh, show us, please.
that I have. I have the Salesforce Platform App Builder Certification.
Very cool.
Here is amazing. I do recommend it 100%.
I'm gonna have to check that out. Very nice.
Yeah, the author is Rakesh Gupta.
Yeah.
So he's famous because he's the famous automation champion.
Mm-hmm.
And you have also this book which is the Practical Salesforce Development Without Code. Big fan here.
Nice.
Yeah, so definitely both of those books are my favorite right now, especially when if you're in a quarantine
Yeah.
situation.
Just hanging out. Got plenty of time. Let's crack those books open. That's very a good way to spend your
And
time.
you could go old school and just read a book instead and don't and take a break from the computer.
Mm-hmm. That'll definitely help your eyes.
Definitely.
Cool. So we're starting to wrap things up a little bit here, but let's talk about some advice that you would have for somebody that either is wants to be similar to you or has a path. They kind of want to end up in the similar situation as you.
I think like the best thing about Salesforce is like if you want to be a Salesforce administrator, because I think that's they always like the first step
Mm-hmm.
to, to start your Salesforce career is definitely get involved with the Salesforce community. Talk with people that is already Salesforce administrators, Salesforce developers, architects, MVPs. They will guide you and provide you some advice on what will be the next steps for your career if you want to start your career with Salesforce.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely will go through again with the community, but at the same time, I do recommend people to do trailheads, of course, as always. Trailhead is very important, and I think at this point, because we have a large community, it's important for everyone to specialize on something that they are good at.
Yep.
Again, Salesforce is not just Sales Cloud. You have Service Cloud, you have Marketing Cloud. And
Mm-hmm.
Marketing Cloud, by the way, I have, yeah, you have right now a lot of companies are looking for people that knows about Marketing Cloud.
Mm-hmm.
So we talk about field service lighting. I have had interviews that companies were asking me like if I have experience with CPQ, for example.
Mm-hmm.
All those products, not everyone will specialize in every single product. So there's a lot of products that there's one product that you can be really good at and you can be really passionate about. And I recommend people that to do that, to specialize, to
Yep.
go for a product that they really like.
Yeah, you bring up a really good point there because when you think about the platform and the type of people that are going for it, a lot of people are transitioning from other types of jobs, and they can bring experience into the Salesforce platform. So let's say that you worked in analytics at your old job, as your old role as a business analyst for SAP or something like that. You can kind of easily transition to like Einstein Analytics as your specialization, or let's say, going back to field service lightning, you ran some type of scheduling, appointment, and forecasting automation for a delivery team. You can jump in the field service lightning and leverage your experience to be able to specialize in those specific areas if you have a passion for it. The good thing is, if you, let's say you don't like CPQ or something like that, you can also kind of pivot and go somewhere else. And work on a different type of cloud platform or specialization. So that works out really well, and I think that's what draws a lot of people into the Salesforce platform.
Especially when you have Salesforce that is acquiring
Companies left and
companies
right.
all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's, I think that there's a plenty of work for everyone. And the most important thing here, and I found it again. I to be honest, I still, even though I have experience with the Salesforce ecosystem and I have helped startup companies in the past with their deploying Salesforce, especially Sales Cloud.
Mm-hmm.
I think like the most important thing is like people found their passion and how Salesforce can actually solve the problem for for example the organization that they're already working with.
Mm-hmm.
And just found just find your goal, find your passion, and go from there.
Yep. You've got it. So, if you guys have started to take note, we've got to ask some, I guess, a interesting question for you in the end here. So, tell us a fact about you that not a lot of people may know.
Well, a lot of people don't know, but I actually used to be the president of a charity back in Venezuela.
Cool.
um, and yeah, I mean, like we were promoting sustainability and green projects back in Venezuela. And a lot of them, they were educational projects for the youth, and that was very very fulfilling. And I believe that's why I think like the power of community is very important.
Mm-hmm.
And Salesforce has that. Not a lot of we don't there's not a lot of communities like Salesforce, so that's very important.
Definitely agree. It's super, super awesome that you're involved in that, and keep it up. There's a lot of other places when you think about leveraging your Salesforce experience. We can volunteer at. We can spend some of our time helping others. So there's a lot that if you're at um, really any level that you're at, you can try to give back to the community and start to leverage your experience to help somebody out. So there we have it. Thank you so much, Alex. This was really informative. We learned a lot about you. We got some really great information on how you can get started in Salesforce and break into the Salesforce ecosystem. Any last words? Any shout outs to people that you wanna bring up here?
Yes. First of all, thank you, Warren, for your
No
time.
problem.
It was a great interview, and yeah, I mean, like, to be honest, I'm very open on LinkedIn for anyone who has any questions. Um, and yeah, I believe like hopefully people will look at my YouTube channel, and I will start like posting interesting videos about how I design solutions for different companies. I I hope that, yeah, I mean, if people have any questions, they can reach out to me. Or if people want any kind of advice, more than happy to do it. And we're a community here, and I think that's the most important thing. And yeah, we you again follow your passion and start from there.
There it is, Alex Pinate, really helping out with the community. For anybody that needs to get in contact with him or wants to learn more, there's links down below. Thank you all so much for watching. If we're inspiring or helping one person take that next step into the Salesforce ecosystem, we've done our job here. Thanks everybody so much for watching, and remember, we believe in you.